Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot? It is time to get a die. Yes, hello, welcome. Could you tell I haven't sang in about 5 years? Welcome back to welcome back to Advent for the final day. We're here. Look at all these beautiful die. It is Christmas Eve. My voice cracked after I sang, which is good. Santi is on his way. He's got that sleigh. It's filled with all of the toys. No PlayStation 5s, no Xbox, whatever's on a supply chain shortage. Even Santi got affected by that evergreen turning on its side. Wasn't that a funny part of the year? Wasn't it also funny when everything got worse from 2020? That was my favorite bit of the year. However, we have made it to the end of the year. We've made it to the end of Advent, and look at our spoils thus far. Look at these spoils. We're not even going to have to finish on D6. We got that the last day. There's only one left, and I have a funny feeling we're about to see it. Or if we're not, well, let's just open the door. Before we do, I just want to take a quick moment and say thank you for watching all of these. If you have, if this is the first one you've watched, that's completely fine. You're going to get the glut of the information anyway. There was dice every day. You don't need to know what day these came out. Or maybe you do. I don't know. Maybe you need to. But regardless, if this is the first one you've watched, if this is the last one you watched, I just want to thank you because sincerely I did enjoy this a lot. I didn't think I would. I didn't even. I didn't think I'd stick to it every day, but I'm glad that I did. It gave a little bit of ceremony to the run up to Christmas for me that hates it. So here's the last one, folks. A flawless opening. And a flawless D10. As we expected, the set is finally complete. Christmas is saved. And we can finally, at the end of all this, talk about the dice themselves. Because, that is what you came here to see. But before we do that, let's distract ourselves with the last of the rolls. Now, D10 in the tens place, we know this from previous days. It hasn't come up too often, but it's oldies. The reason we know that is because it is the opposite of newbies, and boy howdy did we get a lot of newbie dice. So there's going to be oldies. Hopefully it'll be a golden oldie. There's only one way to find out, though. For the last time this season, let's give it a roll and see what happens, shall we? Give that one a little kiss. Hope no germs got in my mouth there. That's an 8. An 80, in fact. Finishing strong with an 80. So 80 on the oldies list. 8. Wouldn't be a sight if this is one we've seen already. It is, yeah, it's Dark Side of the Moon. Right. Well, let's give it a reroll. There was a 1 in 10 chance, but I like those odds. Let's give it a reroll and get something that isn't an 80, shall we? That is a 90. One higher. That's 61. And that is... Oh, if that's not fucking poetry, I don't know what is. Okay. Give me a moment. This is very, very touching, I think. Let's go get the final CD of Advent. I couldn't really have asked for a better note to end Advent on than this. Pink Floyd's Wish You Were Here. I'm not gonna get too down in the dumps, too dour. It is Christmas Eve after all. But every Christmas brings something different. And it feels like every year, only in retrospect, really, you can realize what were the good Christmases and what were the bad Christmases. I can't say for certain whether or not you out there watching this silly joke video on the internet are going to have a good Christmas or going to have a bad Christmas. But when I wish you a Merry Christmas and hope that you have a very good one, I do mean that because we've all had bad ones, and I wouldn't wish that on anybody, no matter what. We all miss someone, though, and Christmas is the time of year where We might be reminded of the people that we've lost, and that is difficult. It's always going to be difficult. But we also find people. We also, make new friends with people. We make new connections. We find reasons to enjoy the season, and we make traditions. Maybe this is a tradition now. Who's to say? I can't make any promises, but I've enjoyed it enough that I would be more than willing to do something like this again. And eventually I will run out of CDs. But even just the process of ritualizing the season, it helps. And it makes the whole thing feel a lot better. Wish You Were Here is a beautiful album. It is singular in its intent, let's say. Whereas something like Dark Side of the Moon is a lot more varied. It has its core theme, but it dabbles in a lot of aspects of it. Wish You Were Here, by contrast, is an album with a lot of sadness to it. But the beautiful kind. And there is something beautiful about sadness expressed through art and channeled in that way. And not just because we can latch onto it and sort of impart our own sadness to it, but also because it's reaffirming, I think. It's like it's not just spinning the wheels and perpetually, reconstituting and reproducing the same old sad verses over and over again. It's taking the feeling and it's making something good out of it, something that hits people in a good way. I'm saying all of this in my joke dice video because it is a time for sentiment and it's a time for looking back. And I think that we will look at the back of this, despite not really needing to, because I'm going to be recommending the shortest song on this album, the most arguably important song on this album. It's Wish You Were Here. Shine On You Crazy Diamond, in all of its parts, is quite beautiful, and hey, Welcome to the Machine is a good song, don't get me wrong. But Wish You Were Here, if you're going to round out your Christmas with anything, let it be Wish You Were Here. And let it remind you maybe of all that's gone past before, all that will come again. And to value, I guess, what you've got. And to remember, let's say. And when you remember me sat here on my couch, cross-legged, on a work day, rolling some dice and picking some shelves. I'm not picking shelves, not yet. I am going to IKEA over Christmas, though. I'm taking the opportunity to be really boring. I can't wait. But no, taking the opportunity to roll some dice, take some CDs off the shelf, and hopefully entertain you along the way. That's what I enjoy doing. In doing so, however, I do need to give my absolutely professional view on these dice and give an actual review of the calendar as a whole. As you can see, it is completely empty. Ne'er a math rock to be found, for they're all here on the dice tray of festivity. It's no longer the dice tray of miscalculation. It's now the dice tray of festivity. So, what to say about these? Well, let me get my words together and I'll be back to you in a mo. Alright, so I have arranged our spoils in terms of my personal ranking, I would say, broadly speaking. It's a very rough ranking from best to worst. There's more to be said about the actual composition of these, but just to go through it briefly, from the bottom to the top, I think personally my least favorite die has to be of the set, this one. It's disappointing in a number of ways. I'm not a big fan, really, of these fruit die. It all comes down really to the way that I view dice and how I associate them with characters. I don't really see any character that I could tie to a dice full of fruit. I'm sure plenty do, and I don't doubt that if somebody had a wide enough selection, it could make for a good, nature cleric, druid, ranger, whatever. But I did this one in particular. I just don't really see the appeal of. Who likes pomegranates? Am I right? Which is definitely what these are, and I'm still going to stick with that because you got to commit to the bit, I guess. So yeah, pomegranate dice, pretty low on the ranking. Of the ones that we got, I just don't really see the greatest use for it personally. And it's not even one I can give away to people because nobody else is going to know what this is. So why would I? Next up on the list, then we have two d6s together. I kind of rank these ones evenly because I feel like they're on the same tier. Again, everything I said about the previous die could be said about the apple one as well, but at least the apples are more recognizable. And I feel like they're a friendlier fruit as well. I feel like people get along better with apples. Plus, despite my chagrin at getting so many d6s, it does have to be said that if you're just giving these away to people, there is a certain novelty to be found. Like, oh, it's a dice full of apples. That's kind of cute. That is for people that don't need like a full polyhedral set. Like if people just like want a d6 for their games or whatever, like Monopoly or better games, which do exist. This is perfect. Like this makes for a cute little novelty thing. So again, it ranks a little bit higher, but again, same thing that I said previously about the D10, and then the fish one. Um, yeah, like I said at the time, I like the concept of the fish one, and I do have like a character concept that would work well for it. Sorry, I had to adjust the focus there. I want to get this right, don't you know? Yeah, I have a concept that would work well for the fish dye. I think the more I look at it, though, the more the execution kind of is just disappointing because I get the idea of them like swimming in the water and that being sort of the gimmick of it, but it's just it doesn't it doesn't scream aquatic character to me in the same way as like just a clear blue dye might. So for that reason, I'm gonna pop him down there. It's not that he won't be used; it's just that he's very singular. Now, this may be contentious. Okay, this may be very contentious, but I personally feel that the Sparkly Boys win out for a couple of reasons in terms of the die sets. It was close, to be fair. It was very, very close. Um, Primarily, though, what it came down to was specificity. I can see D, these guys here, this full polyhedral set with the black and the red, with the gold lettering. While it's beautiful, I can see that being used for pretty much any character. In my mind, it would make for like a good sort of demonic themed character. But then again, there are countless other styles that you could use that meld more effectively. I feel with that sort of theming. While these are really quality, and I need to stress that, by the way, Dakota Irish, great bunch of guys. I can only recommend them strongly enough. I did buy this. I'm not being fucking paid off by the grift. You have to say that on YouTube. People start asking questions. But these are really solid dice. Like I have fucking Chessex ones that are not nearly as good. These are really really solid. And I got to say, if I saw these on a shelf, as I've said previously, these particular ones, I don't think I'd buy them just because they are broadly useful. That is not a bad thing. That is a very good thing, in fact. Like you could use these for, I feel, any character. Um, but again, that just makes them middle of the pack in my mind. Very solid, very good. Like when I say ranking, like these are good die. This is not like, oh, shit tier up to fantastic tier. No, no, no. These are still really solid. I just feel that the Sparkly Boys, which we'll talk more about in a bit, are more solid. Before we get to them, though, I got to talk about these D8s. And the reason that I rank them where they are is that it's kind of just the disappointment of having doubles, because I would love, and I mean really, really love, if I had a ones place and a tens place of these style of die. That would be perfect. It's so good. Because what I'm thinking about for it wouldn't it be great for Wild Magic Sorcerer's fucking Wild Magic Surge to be using these sort of bloodied, like almost like a Bloodwell Vial appeal D10s to do your D100 roll, and I would have liked that. Now, that being said, the fact that they are ones place D10s and they are unique does make them perfect for something like V5, which, believe me, I'm all about. That's some good shit. But again, I would need a couple more of these to be able to do that, and instead of that, I got fucking pomegranates. So yeah, I would either have liked to get one of these and get another unique like D10 or whatever, or different style of die, or get two of them and have them be 10s plus 1 plus. Or alternatively, have like 5 or 6 of these in a bag, which I might actually get after the fact if they sell them individually, because I really like these ones. Yeah, but they didn't rank quite as high as the Sparkly Boys. And again, this goes back to what we were talking about with the darker ones. While the readability in person can be a little dodgy on the D20 occasionally from certain angles, as compared to this one. I mean, these are fucking crystal clear. Which, again, I feel bad ranking them low as they did, but these are too good, and these are way too specific, right? And specific is what is the name of the game, because you couldn't, well, in my mind anyway, I couldn't just use these with a bog standard barbarian or like a rogue or something like that. These say something about the character that they are being assigned to in my mind, and that's what I like in dice. That's part of the collecting aspect of it to me. They're also, and it has to be said, fucking eye catching. Like these, I could put these on the Christmas tree. Um, I'm not that big of a nerd. Just ignore my CD collection. But if I did put them on the Christmas tree, what am I saying? I'm not that big of a nerd. Of course I would. I just haven't done it yet. But when I do, these will fucking shine. They will refract the light beautifully. If I actually just break immersion here for a second, I don't know if you can see when you hold them up to the light, like the sort of semi-translucency of them, which I just adore. Like that is, they are display pieces, and they are also dice that I feel anyway could apply to very specific kinds of characters in ways that these ones don't really meet the bill in my mind. Again, they're all good dice. They all roll right. Like this is just my perception on it. Now above them, and again, I would have preferred if I didn't get duplicates of these. The duplicate issue is something that does bear discussion. We'll get to that, but it's got to be these flower die. These are classy as fuck. These are really, really solid. I like them. They've got a nice feel. I like the lettering too. I like that the blue kind of matches in with the flowers, and I like that they've got a little bit of sparkle too. Like it gives them a little bit of like a little bit of visual interest, because there's a lot of empty space there that could have been sort of boring. Again, we got to go back to our low entries here. That's an issue with the fish die, is that all the action is down here at the bottom and everything else up top is just sort of empty. I'm not saying that glitter would have been the answer, but it certainly did help for this one. So I had to rank these high. Not quite so high, though, as our Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, so to speak. We gotta talk about these birds, all right? We gotta talk about these fucking clear die with the stuff in them that's really nice and cute. I love this little bird D10. I can't I can't stop talking about this little boy. I love him. He's great. He's so cute, and I like it. I like this little cute little bird. I don't know where the hell I'm going to use him. He's probably just going on the little display shelf that I have. But he's so nice. I really, really like this. It's just sweet. Like these are this second highest rank is just ones that are really sweet. And the same has to be said about Santi. Unique in the sense that I don't have any big chunky dice like this. And I mean, talking unique, look at him. I mean, it's just perfect. As far as the die to get in this calendar goes, this is perfect. I couldn't have asked for a better dice. This is wonderful. I love this little Santi die. I think it's incredibly sweet. It's the sort of thing that could have come across as like really tacky and lame, but it didn't. The execution is just perfect. And I mean, how could you not like that? Now, some of you might say, oh, he's just trying to get on the good list one day before. I've already burned that bridge. I know I'm getting coal. I'm lighting the fire already. But that doesn't stop me from liking the man himself. Santi, he's a good guy. Be sure to leave out your milk and biscuits tonight for him, and a carrot for Rudolph. There's a good lad. But we have to talk about it. It was, I think, the highlight of the whole year. Not of the whole entire year. I'm talking Advent. It hasn't been that bad of 2021. This did not make or break my year, but it did make or break the season, because this, I just really like this. I think it does exactly what it needs to do, and it's here's the thing. I like these ones because they're good for characters. I like these ones because I can see what I could do with them. I like these ones because they're very giftable. I like these ones because they're really like unique and pretty. This one, it's it's sort of the chunky pasta sauce, let's say, to use a marketing analogy. It's the chunky pasta sauce of these dice, because this is not a dice I'd ever like see in a shop and say, "Oh, I want that. I love donuts so much. I need that." However, having been given it myself, I adore it for a couple of reasons. Number one, the novelty of it for a start. Number two, it's a big chunky D6, and I like that. They feel really good in the hand, and you can get a good proper roll out of them too. Number three, the orientation of this donut is such that when you get a one, lowest possible roll in the die, you're going to be seeing the donut. Any sort of middle of the road ones, you're going to be seeing the side of the donut. And if you get the absolute max, you're getting that unique coloration on the back, which from certain angles, the right angles, in fact, the whole of it lines up with the six. For that reason alone, I can't get over this. Like it's the perfect thing to put into this D6. It is unique. It's one of those ones where, unlike these guys, I don't feel that I've missed out by not having a complete set of these. Having the D6 is enough. I love it. I think it's very, very good. And it's not just because it was the role that gave us Lungs this year, my favorite album. No. It's just a solid die altogether. And with that, I think we're pretty much done. The last thing I want to say, just as a broad review of this, is that the only changes I would make to this, it was a fantastic experience. I loved all of this. The only change that I would make is, and I've said it before, duplicates and the same styles of dice coming up. Like, barring the sets here, we did not get a unique D20. We did not get a unique D12. We did not get a unique tens place D10 nor D8. And we only got one D4 that was unique in itself. The rest entirely were ones place D10s and D6s. And listen, from a production perspective, I completely understand the idea behind that. I get that they are the most widely produced dice. Like, if you go shopping for them yourself, you will find packs of D6 and packs of D10. Like that is, they are overproduced, to match the demand, because there are systems like, say, the V5 that I mentioned earlier, that need a lot of D10s. D6s are always going to be popular, Fireball, Rogues, etc., etc. Oh, and Monopoly, I guess. There's always going to be like a need for these, right? And I get that. The only thing is, it would be, I feel personally, a bit more relevant to include the styles of die that you don't see as often in a greater abundance. I appreciate this D4 for the style of it, but I also appreciate it in light of the fact that every other unique die that we get was of the one of the two same styles. So it would have been nice maybe to see more D20s. I feel like, again, a tens place D10. If you're going to do duplicates, at least do duplicates with a tens place D10 as well, because they are functionally going to be as useful as the ones place D10 in D10 based systems, but they're going to be doubly as useful in systems that use them to calculate D100s, like D&D, for example. And again, fewer D6s. I feel like people have enough D6s. Again, this is just my feedback. These are things I would personally have liked. It's not a complaint. I adore this completely. It's just a change that I would like to see, hopefully. But again, I would never let it take away marks from what has been ultimately a wonderful experience, and one that I've deeply enjoyed, and hopefully one you've deeply enjoyed as well. I'd get this again. Hell, next year if they're doing them, I'd get the metal die, because these are the acrylic ones, obviously. But they did a metal one as well, and I was like, yeah. I don't own any metal dice. Hint, hint. So hopefully that'd be a nice. That would be a nice way to round out the next year. Wish you were here. That's been Advent, and I've been skiving off work, but hey, what's going to be done on Christmas Eve, right? Especially since I'm the only one working. I take all my holidays after Christmas, because that's when I need them. Anyway, there's little left to say except... Oh, hang on. No, there is one more thing we have to do. Give me a second. Sorry, I almost forgot the most important thing that we have to do before we leave off on Advent for the year. Because really, if I didn't do this, people would start asking questions. That's shit. Anyway, hope you have a wonderful Christmas, and hey, maybe I'll see you again in the new year. And if not, I hope you enjoyed. Have a good one, everybody. Merry Christmas.